Two couples.
The second line.
Nice and doting.
You fucking cunt.
Where do you see this?
The second line. Welcome to Read It and Screech.
For Rachel.
The podcast for Rachel.
Okay, do it again. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Literally. Welcome to Read It and Screech.
The podcast for Rachel. You literally need to type the podcast. I fucking forgot that part already.
Okay. Okay. The book that we're covering today is called Just the Nicest Couple. Have you heard of it?
No.
What if you had and you had just read it and this would be pointless?
First off, I would have forgotten, so it's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Write that down.
It's called Just the Nicest Couple. It's by Mary Kubica. It was actually recommended to me Kubica by Rachel. Not this Rachel.
That's weird.
She actually, no, I lied. It was not recommended to me by Rachel. She recommended a different book, and the library didn't have it. And they had this one by the same author.
Like the
app.
internet?
The app, yeah.
Oh, my fuck.
It is 320 pages. It's a New York Times bestseller type, so it's not on Kindle Unlimited.
It's not.
The audiobook is 10 hours and 32 minutes, or 5 hours and 16 minutes, if you're me. And it has 3.6 stars on Goodreads. It is a standalone.
3.6 stars.
It's alternating first person.
Oh!
No, but in the good way.
I hate that shit. There is no such thing.
Yes, there is, because I get bored with one person's head and brain.
Okay, well, then how are you still alive?
Truly the question. So, the narrator of the audiobook, they did alternate between like a woman reading the woman's point of view and a man reading the man's point of view.
Like they legitimately hired two people?
They did.
Oh my god.
They did it. They did fine. The lady, I thought, did a fantastic job.
She have booger?
She didn't.
Oh.
Not a drop of phlegm in sight. The man, however. Maybe I just hate men. But I find a lot of fault because the man,
her husband just walked out. You said I hate men, but your husband just stepped outside.
Yes. Not that one. Not that one.
Didn't mean that one.
The lady does such a good job, and like whenever she is talking like in another person's voice, she changes her voice just enough to where it's not cringy, but you can tell someone else is talking. Into the cupboard. But when the guy does it, he changes his voice to try to sound feminine. And it's so bad. It's really hard to get through. But the lady, she did great. So props to her. That guy.
Don't quit your day job.
It was very bad. Okay. So this is there's two couples who are the main people in the story.
Wait, what's it called again?
It's called Just the Nicest Couple.
But there's two couples.
Yes.
Lies.
Just the nicest couples. No. Just the Nicest Couple. There are two main couples that it's about. We have Christian and Lily. They have like a really nice doting relationship with each other. It's disgusting. There's lots of touching. Lots of soft touching. They're trying to have a kid.
No! No.
And she's had like a million miscarriages.
No! Okay.
So that's a point of stress for them starting out. He has a math job and she is a math teacher. So like that's the thing they have in common.
What?
She's currently pregnant.
Why?
And now so that's like a point of stress is that she's had a lot of miscarriages.
Point of stress for me.
She's had a lot of miscarriages and she's still currently pregnant. That is one couple. Couple number one. Couple number two is Jake and Nina. He is a mega ass. Her mom is very sickly, so she doesn't give enough attention to her mega ass husband. So that's a point of stress for them. Her mom has breast cancer and macular degeneration. The fuck? Do you know what macular degeneration is?
No eyeballs.
No, you do have them. But it's like your vision is deteriorating really, really rapidly and severely.
Same thing.
So he is a brain surgeon, actually. So they talk a lot about brain injuries. Big theme. And not very good, though, because he gets very stressed because his patients are always dying.
Me too, bro.
And then he's mad because his patients die because he's not a good doctor. And then his wife won't pay attention to him because she's taking care of her sickly mother.
You know what would help? Is you becoming better at your job.
Yes, that would help. That's not an option that he pursues, but it would help.
I hate this already.
He's
this
a surgeon.
She's the shittiest book.
It is not. Okay. Oh,
it is not. Proceeds to tell me
it's
that
not
it is.
shitty. It's actually
It's not shit.
The book is very good. The people in the book are the worst.
How is that possible?
But it's like reading the Facebooks of people you don't like. It's
so something
crap.
that I would not take up.
It's just like inhaling it.
That's like anxiety doom scrolling for me. That's like something I don't do for fun.
You literally did. You send me screenshots all the time.
No, I don't do that.
The other day, I walked in the house and you said, "Did you see?" And then before you could start talking,
no,
I
that
said
post-
exactly what post you were thinking of.
I
and
didn't
you
send
said
it
yes.
to you. I said I had to get off Facebook because so and so was doing stuff.
And I was like, "Yeah,
I can't be doing that all day long. That should give me stress."
Okay, so she's an English teacher, so that makes her and Lily like bestest friends.
Do they work at the same school?
Yes,
Fuck.
they were at the same school. Their husbands are friends by proxy, so they're like cool with each other.
One has a math job and one is a shitty brain doctor.
So basically, the vibe of Christian and Lily is that they're just like a very sweet relationship, fawning all over each other.
Ugh.
He's made a ton of sacrifices to try to give her the life she wants, even though he's a beta who doesn't have a brain surgeon job. And Jake and Nina, they fight a lot because he's jealous of her mom. So the 2 point of views that it alternates between are Christian and Nina. So those are the 2 point of views that you see. And and the 2 that you don't see are Jake and Lily.
Okay.
So we start off from Christian's point of view. He comes home from his math job and Lily...
Why do you keep saying math job? What does this man do?
It's a math thing. Honestly, I was like, oh, let me make note of that. And then I did. And it was such a boring ass job. I already forgot what it was. Some kind of market research or something. Christian comes home. We open in the opening scene. Lily is staring at a dark TV in the dark, just sitting in the dark. The TV's off. She's staring at it. She is skittish as fuck the whole night. The whole book takes place over a very short period of time.
Ew. Is this rated R?
I wish.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a ghost?
No. Lily is staring at a dark TV. She's skittish as fuck. She's like freaking out. Gives no explanation for why she is so skittish. Christian thinks, oh, she must be afraid that she's going to have another miscarriage. That's his like reason for everything. So he gets her takeout. They go to bed. Across town, her good friend Nina is waiting up for Jake. They had a huge fight and he hasn't come home. She blames herself, even though he is just a giant mega ass.
What? Okay.
Lily cries all night and then stands in the kitchen in the dark.
Why are they all standing in the fucking dark?
What
is this?
They all aren't. Only Lily is.
No, because TV girl was standing in the
That's
dark
Lily.
too. And
That's
then the
Lily.
other girl was standing in the dark.
That's Lily.
Oh,
Still Lily.
still
Still Lily. So Nina is across town waiting up for her husband. He hasn't come home. They had a fight. That's all that happens in that same segment of time. Back at Christian and Lily's house, Lily cries all night and then stands in the kitchen in the dark.
That's what you said. She's standing in the fucking dark too.
No, Nina is waiting up for Jake. Lily was staring at the dark TV and skittish as fuck. And then Lily is crying all night and standing in the kitchen in the dark. Lily is doing these things. Christian asks, did she have a bad dream? Because she was crying all night. And she says no. She says, I ran into Jake, which is Nina's husband, mega ass. She says, I ran into mega ass while she was on a walking trail at like a nearby forest preserve. And every time she opens her mouth, Christian thinks she's going to say she's having a miscarriage. So she's sobbing and having a full panic attack. She says, I ran into Jake at the park. Every time she opens her mouth, he's like, oh my God, she's having a miscarriage.
I'm going to sob and have a full panic attack because this is horrible.
Christian asks no further questions about why she's in shambles over running into a family friend at the park.
The shit.
At school the next day, there is a fellow teacher who obviously has the hots for Nina, and he keeps asking her what's wrong. She's not having it. She's not interested in him back. His name is Ryan. Nina goes to Lily looking for comfort. Lily is tone deaf and does not offer it to her. So Nina says to Lily, hey, Jake didn't come home. Has Christian ever done anything like that?
She said, hey, girl, my husband didn't come home. And she wasn't like, yeah, I saw him at the fucking park.
No, she doesn't say
And then
that.
I cried about it all evening.
No.
NBD.
Right? She just says, like,
bitch, what?
And Nina is really embarrassed. Nina says to Lily, has Christian ever left after a fight and then not come home for a long time after? And instead of Lily trying to empathize at all, she goes, no, I have a good husband. He would never do that.
Also, I didn't see your husband last night.
Also, no mention of that. That being said, while they're talking, Nina notices that Lily is missing an earring. And it's from a pair of earrings that she wears all the time. Lily ends up leaving school without checking in on her friend whose husband hasn't come home for 2 days. And she texts Christian and asks him to come home from work in the middle of the day to let him know that she lost the earring. But he comes home because he thinks she must be having a miscarriage.
Oh my God.
She says, oh, I'm sorry. I should have just waited until you were off work. Yes, you should have waited. He notices that she has some scratches on her arms and stuff that he didn't notice.
So she's been fighting this motherfucker in the woods.
Well, here's the thing. She was in the dark for like the whole day. So it wasn't light enough for him to notice.
The whole day. She was in the dark for the whole day.
So after a lot of coaxing, she tells him that she saw Jake and that when she saw him at the park, he convinced her to go down this walking trail to go look at a deer. And there was no deer, but there was Jake wanting to fuck.
There was a wiener.
Yes, there was a wiener.
There was a deer in these pants.
And so basically she says, thought I was being a good friend and he was just telling me.
I was being a good friend and a good friend would not tell his wife where he is.
She says,
for 2 days.
She says, I ran into him. He said he was looking a little bit upset. And I asked him what was wrong. And he was talking about how his wife never has time for him and how he wished that she was more like me.
Bitch. People got me fucked up. People got me so fucked up because you cannot. Okay, two things. Two happenstances. Number one, there is not. We watch a lot of true crime. And there is not,
because we're not like other American women.
Right.
We like true crime.
Exactly like everyone else. Worse, in fact. No, you got me fucked up because there's literally no amount of money on the planet that would, one, when people kill their sibling so that they can fuck their in-law. Like, we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. And it's just the worst thing that I can imagine. There's no money in the world. Right. There's no money in the world where I would kill you so that I could fuck your husband.
You don't want to fuck my husband?
No. If there was an asteroid hurtling towards Earth, I'd be like, well, this is the one that takes us out. Me and the dinosaurs, bitch. Like,
here's what you should know about.
So, like, when other people are like, yeah, I killed my spouse so I could have my in-law. Like, the fuck? So that's crazy to me, number one. Number two, apparently I don't understand, like, when they're like the top three, the big threes, like money, lust, and what's the other one? Food? The big three, the things that people murder over. I'm like, I guess that I just don't get those or whatever. Because I'm like, logic tells me no. I wouldn't have done that.
Is it money, lust, revenge?
But yeah, I think revenge. Okay. I think it's revenge. Revenge makes more sense, I guess. Or like, I understand more when people like kill for their children to protect their children from something. That one makes sense. I'm like, okay, I see. Like that lady who killed when their disgusting neighbor fondled her kids and she killed that dude. That made sense. But like all the other ones, I'm like, no, I don't see that. And so you got me fucked up if you think that if my friend's husband tried to lure me into the woods and put my hand down his pants, how I would not have run straight to the police and my spouse and her husband.
Not even if there might be a deer?
That would have been like, Nina, this motherfucker! Girl, this was disgusting! I would have gone straight to as many people as possible.
The story just would have been, hey, I saw your husband and I think there was a deer over there, but I didn't go.
Right! I wouldn't have been like, I followed him and then we had a altercation and we beat the fuck out of each other and no one's seen him in 2 days and I didn't tell anyone. No, I would have told as many people as would have. I would have run into the Go grocery outlet and been like, Wah!
So
straight to jail.
So he said, hey, come look at this deer. And then he was like, wow,
Or my wiener.
He's like,
You're lucky.
he said, I really wish my wife was more like you and didn't.
He really said in that moment, I'm gonna fuck up all four of our, like, I'm gonna, in this moment, hope that you're feeling what I'm feeling, that your husband doesn't give a fuck, that I don't give a fuck about my wife. Like,
there's literally more to the story that I would love to tell you if we could get past this one part.
I hate it.
So what she says is that he said, you know, pick you, choose you, love you.
Right?
And she said, oh, I would never do that to my good husband or to my good friend.
According to her, that's what she said.
He tries to assault her. He's not going to take no for an answer. In defense, she digs up a rock with her hands.
She said, equal fights.
And she bashes his head in with it. First brain injury reference. My favorite. She grabbed the rock, blindly hit him a few times with it to try to get away from him, ran away, came home, took a shower, sat in front of the TV in the dark, and assumed
again, should have gone straight to the police and said, this is what happened and this is what I did.
Well,
but no.
She was afraid it was going to be her word versus his, and she didn't want to hurt Nina's feelings.
You're assuming that she's never going to find out what just happened, or you just don't want to tell her today, so you're going to risk telling her in 3 days when she figures it out.
When he hasn't come home still.
Right, when his caved-in skull is found by some hikers.
Okay, so that same night, Nina brushes her mom off after a doctor's appointment to go home and see if Jake came back. He did not.
Oh, fancy that. Wonder why.
Across town, Lily is sleeping like a baby. Jake is awake, as anyone would be after their spouse bashed someone's head in with a rock. He finds the clothes that she had been wearing, and they are covered in blood. The next morning, they call out of work to go look into what may have happened after the head bashing. Christian did not come to fuck around. He brings a shovel. He brings gloves.
Apparently.
He brings everything he could think of.
I'm here for the cover-up, bitch.
Mm-hmm. They do find the place where it happened, as evidenced by a gigantic pool of blood that trails off into the woods. They do not see her earring.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? I'm sure they didn't find her earring.
They do see his car on their way out of the park. So at first they don't see his car and they're relieved because they think, oh, that means he left. But it's like parked on the road off to the side.
So they don't have a low jack on that car then?
Who? Who's that?
His wife. His wife hadn't found that car yet?
No, because at this point she thinks that he just went somewhere to cool off. She's not in like recovery mode yet. Nina is still worried, and Lily's fake ass texts her pretending to check in and see if Jake ever came home. The hospital calls asking why Jake hasn't come to do surgeries in 3 days now. She goes to the police. They don't do much. They're just like, maybe your husband got sick of you and left. Have you ever thought about that, Nina? No, you haven't.
Did you ever think about that?
You only think about your mom.
Because half that is true. He did get sick of you. And he did start to go somewhere.
Lily's fake ass tells her that she's silly for calling the police. Jake probably just left her because they fought.
She said, yeah, please don't call the cops. They might look at me.
Mm-hmm. While they're talking, another teacher, Denise, mentions that her husband saw Lily at the forest preserve.
There is a lot of teachers.
There are.
Up in this bitch.
So Lily kind of wasn't wanting anyone to have seen her there, and now someone they work with did see her.
More than that.
Someone left Nina flowers. She hopes it was Jake apologizing. It wasn't.
It was Ryan.
Lily and Christian have the softest, most disgusting sex ever.
No! My God!
Basically, they're just like rubbing on each other.
Oh!
The way that it's described is as her legs falling open.
Oh my God!
And then he enters her.
Nope.
And
I do not consent to this.
I was so disgusted.
Absolutely not. Oh, I'm gonna gag.
Mm-hmm. No one at Jake's office can help Nina figure out where he is. She goes there asking people. They also haven't seen him. And the florist that was the place where the flowers were from, they don't help her either. She's like, let me talk to the owner. And they're like, I am the owner. I'm not telling you who sent the flowers. Christian actually ends up sneaking into Nina and Jake's house to try to steal the key to the car. They want to move it from the forest preserve to try to get away from the scene of the crime. Lily is supposed to text him when she and Nina leave brunch, and she waits to do so until Nina is already back home.
Jesus.
Just kidding. It wasn't Nina. It was her mom.
Well, she's blind. It's fine. She'll never know.
So mom actually assumed that Christian was Jake. And so when Nina gets home from brunch, she's like, oh, you just missed him. And Lily's fake fucking ass says, see, Nina, he's fine. He already came home while you weren't there. Nina goes next door to see if anyone saw Jake's car today. And then she goes for a walk. Someone is following her and she's freaking out, but it's just some lady who needs directions.
Oh my God.
At work the next day, Ryan helps Nina find a tracker on her car. So they assume that mega ass Jake put it there because sometimes he would get jealous of her. Christian goes to the preserve to hunt for Jake, and he sees someone he knows, but he can't place where he knows them from. So everyone's just kind of high alert, paranoid the whole time for obvious reasons.
This is like that weird season of Pretty Little Liars.
This is like that other thing
Where that guy, was it Toby? Was just like running around in the background, just doing stuff to everybody, but then for no reason.
I've never seen Pretty Little Liars. Not one.
He was
episode.
just like finger in the pie, finger in the pie, and you were like, okay, yeah, I'm keeping up. Okay, why'd you do it? And then they were like, no reason. Okay, I'm confused. There's genuinely no reason for any of these things. Why were you following her? Why'd you go to their work? Why are you in the woods? The fuck is happening?
So finally someone on Nextdoor shares security footage.
There is not Nextdoor written into this fucking book.
No, they call it the Facebook group, but it's clearly Nextdoor.
Oh, okay. Jesus.
One of her neighbors shares with Nina.
Like when they call Airbnb away K.
Finally someone shares footage with Nina of Christian going up to her house, but she can't totally make him out. She just sees.
Oh, it's like a ring doorbell.
They're not fucking yawning into this microphone. It makes it
yawning
sound
every single time.
How are the people going to find us interesting if even we don't find us interesting?
Every time you look away, I have yawned. Every single time. I've been like, it's nothing to do with it not being interesting and everything to do with how much oxygen enters my body. I don't inhale enough.
The police come to question Lily and Christian since they're close to Nina and Jake. And Lily tells the police, fake ass. She tells the police that Nina and Jake had been fighting.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Is she a fake ass?
Fake ass. Hate her. She puts on the
I'm
show.
guessing she's not who the book is named after.
Or Just the Nicest Couple. No, actually, yeah. Because everyone says that Lily and Christian are just the nicest couple.
Yeah, but they're not. Just when they have that weird, horrible sex. That's all we're referencing.
The police come to question Lily and Christian. Lily puts on a Broadway level performance.
I don't believe that. I don't believe she's good enough to be on Broadway.
Wait.
She blows.
She says, oh my God. I really shouldn't say anything.
Oh my God. That wanted me to touch his ween.
No, she goes, I really shouldn't say anything, but Nina and Jake had been fighting. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Bitch, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. And then she said, you know what? I heard Nina say that if she couldn't have Jake, no one could. And I think that he might have been having an affair.
Yeah, with you. That's how you knew, with you.
Nothing could be further from the truth. I don't think Nina wants Jake that much. Nina checks their safe on a whim, and Jake's gun is gone. Because she's trying to figure out what did he take with him.
The first day that he did not come home, I would have looked at the safe for the motherfucking gun.
Yeah, but their relationship was kind of rocky anyway, so sometimes he would go to cool off. So she didn't have that much of a reason to be like, the more time goes. The first day
that you're home alone, you look for the gun.
Well, she did.
Where'd the boomstick at?
So the next day, Lily has, quote, blood in her underpants.
Can I look for the gun now?
Please? This is all from Christian's point of view. So he's like,
oh, well, that's why it's horrible.
Says, Lily has blood in her underpants. Christian is panicking. She's fine. I'm not. But on the news later that day, after the blood in the underpants fiasco, they hear that there was a body found in the preserve.
Could it be mine? Can I sign up to be dead body in ravine?
So Nina tries to make her mom go back to her own house. And her mom is literally whiny and doesn't want to leave, even though she has a perfectly fine house around the corner.
Get the fuck out!
She kind of wants, one of the reasons she wants her mom to go home is because someone was in the house. It was Christian. And she feels like it's not totally safe there. And mom is like, no, I want to stay here with you. The police end up questioning Nina, and Officer Dickhead insinuates that maybe Nina did something due to a hypothetical affair the seeds that Lily planted in the mind of the police. Lily has car troubles. Christian runs to save her like the Captain Save-A-Ho that he is. Poor Lily is having such a bad day. He and Nina interact in the parking lot, and she apologizes to him about being rude while she's been under all of this stress.
As she should.
God, stop being such a bitch about your missing and probably murdered husband. Damn.
Oh my God.
So after Nina apologizes to Christian for being a bitch about her husband being missing and possibly dead.
How dare you?
She sees his car. She's never seen his car before because they've always taken.
She's never seen his car. She doesn't know what his car Have they been married for 5 minutes? Whose car did they take on the honeymoon?
Who do you think is Nina sees? Lily has car troubles, so Christian comes to the school. While he's working on her car, Nina works there too, so she's out in the parking lot. Mm-hmm. And she sees Christian's car. Mm. She's never noticed it before because I guess they just took Lily's car.
Oh, okay.
And she sees Lily's car all the time because they work together. It looks just like the car she saw in the security footage from next door.
Oh, that's bad.
She's like, wow, that looks like the car.
Of course, how many fucking, could just be like a Tesla. How many Teslas around town,
Well, actually,
couldn't have been mine.
Funny you say that because Nina drives a Tesla and Christian could only afford a Honda. And they talk about that.
God.
So Nina has put 2 and 2 together, but she doesn't have any actual proof that the person who broke in was Christian. And so she actually goes and stays at her mom's house because she's very freaked out about that. It has now been 2 weeks since Lily bashed Jake's head in. And Christian is going back over the details to make sure that if they get caught, they have their story straight. Poor Lily. She hasn't been able to sleep. She begrudgingly tells Christian that maybe she hit him more than just a few times. And she very conveniently can't remember where she hit him and how many times. He pulls it out of her that she may have hit him in the back of the head. And
so I'm gonna go with she had him meet her in the woods and she beat this motherfucker to death. Blind rage.
For 100, Alex.
Because that's what it sounds like.
She can't remember. And she says, oh, and I might have also hit him one more time when he was squirming on the ground.
She's back over him with her car, too.
Christian does not find this suspicious at all. Next day, Ryan comes by Nina's classroom, and he is there for a hearty lech.
Ryan is here for a long time and a good time.
A long good time. Someone found Jake's car, so he ends up driving.
Brian's like, I hope they never find him. It's me and you, girl, till the end of the line.
So they found Jake's car in an abandoned motel parking lot. Or abandoned in a motel parking lot.
An abandoned motel. Ew.
I don't know the status of the motel, but I know the car was abandoned. So Ryan ends up driving her to the impound lot. That way she can drive the car back. She is desperate not to be alone with him, and she begs him to leave her at the lot because
and he's desperate to be alone with her.
Yeah, he's making her uncomfortable with his leching. She has to pay $1,000 to get the car out of the impound lot.
Yeah, well, it was going to be 100, but then they saw her pull up in a Tesla, so.
No, she was in Ryan's car.
Oh.
He's a teacher. Yeah, but she has a rich husband. She gets the car. It takes a little bit to get it from the impound person. And as she's leaving the impound lot, it's like 30 minutes later, and somebody starts following her.
Toby from Pretty Little Liars.
No, it's Ryan from this book. She has fucking had it with Ryan. She gets out of the car in the middle of traffic. She walks over to him and yells at him.
Same.
And she is being irrational because he was just being a good friend. He has crossed no boundaries and he respected her wishes to be left alone.
I'm just a good old dude.
He leaves her an embarrassing amount of voicemails that night.
Why'd she block his number?
She does. That night, when she gets home, she's looking through the car to try to find any
her dead husband.
She finds something in the back seat. Bitch, it is that earring.
She was in the car?
The back seat.
They're fucking. Is that baby not her husband's? Is?
Let me tell you this story.
Oh, no.
So the next day she goes to school. She's like, hey, Lily.
Found your earring,
I found
bitch.
your fucking earring.
Oh, no.
And Lily's like, oh my God.
Where was it?
How did you find it? And Nina's like, in the back of my fucking husband's car.
I still see your shadows in my room.
Lily's like, I don't know how that could have possibly happened. I haven't seen your husband in 6 months. Lily gets home. She tells Christian he must be a huge klutz. And he must have dropped her missing earring.
This is your fault, Christian. Where'd you drop the earring?
She says, Christian, the only thing I can imagine of how this happened
is not sleeping with that dude. I couldn't possibly imagine that. Could you imagine it? Wink, wink.
She says, you must have dropped my earring.
You must have dropped my earring when you were fucking him.
When you were moving.
Clearly. When you and Nina, Christian, and Jake were all fucking, I clearly wasn't there. I was busy doing something else while you were all doing each other because I can't imagine being there while you were all doing that nasty thing.
With my earring.
With my earring.
So she says, Christian, I bet you it was stuck to your shirt. And then whenever you went to move the car, it fell off your shirt into the back seat.
And he was like, okay.
Christian
you got it, babe.
He does not find this suspicious.
He's just rolling with them punches.
He loves Lily.
He loves something about her.
It is now Nina's turn.
Is it her golden coochie? I think yes.
It is Nina's turn to do some light stalking, and she parks right outside Christian and Lily's house, but to the side a little bit so they can't see.
They don't want to recognize that Tesla.
Right. She was
like, damn it, why did I get on Ryan's bad side? He could have helped me with this surveillance because he's so good at spying on people.
Well, the real question is,
where is Jake?
Yeah, the second question is, did Jake put that tracker on her car, mega ass?
No, it was Ryan.
Or did Ryan? And we don't find out for sure.
Or was it the blind mom?
Right. So Christian leaves the house with a bag of, and we know it's the clothes.
Plus.
And he leaves the house to get rid of them, and he does this by just
They kept the clothes till just now?
Yeah. They were actually in his car whenever he was helping Lily with her car, and Nina saw the bag, but she had no way of knowing there was her husband's blood. He gets rid of them by throwing them in the neighbor's trash can.
Jesus. I feel like these people have never watched 48 Hours.
They have not. No, they just stare at a TV that is off.
I'm going to give you a quick hint. Turn it on next time.
Nina just goes and gets them out and runs back to her car so she can rifle through them. Christian sees her. He snaps. He snatches her out of the car.
That's what caused him to snap, not any of the shit that his wife has pulled.
He throws her on the ground and starts to strangle her and slam her head into the concrete and watches the light leave her eyes.
Oh, good. He killed her. They killed the other. So she's dead too now.
Just kidding. It was all in his head.
Oh, my God.
You had to experience it the way I did.
I'm so disappointed, actually.
I know.
That's like...
Well, not really, because then Lily would have won. She would have been like, I killed your husband, and then my husband killed you, and then boom.
Strangers on a train, except the opposite. This is people we know very well and murdered recently.
But what he does tell her is that Lily had a miscarriage and that he was throwing the clothes away because he didn't want Lily to have to see them. He wanted the neighbors to have to find her weird miscarriage clothes.
And also
her bloody underpants.
And also he's like, yeah, it was like a scene from Alien where it just like came out the chest, the back, the side.
Yeah, that's why it was all over the shirt.
Right, I'm saying we don't understand anatomy in this household. We do not stand science.
So Nina calls Officer Dickhead and tells him about the bloody clothes, and he finally kind of starts to listen to her. She goes back to her mom's house, and her mom spoons her all night.
Ew.
She gets pulled out of class for the police to tell her that the body that was found was Jake's. She's like, that body was found a couple days ago. Why would you not fucking tell me before you put it on the news? And they were like, well, we have to be sure. So now Christian and Lily are just waiting for the police to come by for obvious reasons. They're watching the news again. And in the news, the reporter says, we found the body and this is who it was. And the person died by a gunshot wound to the head. For the first time, Christian starts to question his wife's integrity.
Oh, for the first time.
For the first
How
time.
long have they been married?
We're rooting for you, Christian.
I'm not. I don't give a fuck what happens to
you, man. I'm
rooting personally.
Not the tender sexual side of you, but for you.
Personally, I'm rooting for Ryan and the mom
to get together.
Yes.
Ryan's gonna become her stepdad because he couldn't get with her.
Mm-hmm.
He looks all over the house for a gun while she sleeps. He doesn't find one. Lily says, will you still love me if I tell you what really happened? Would you still love me if
I was a worm? You are.
Would you still love me if I was a murderous cunt? Because Christian has always said, I'll love you no matter what. And he's helped her this whole time because he loves her so much. She's really like, she was like,
Throw it back and reverse it. This was all a test of our love.
she's been throwing it back.
She's like, actually, this whole thing was an escape room
Mhm.
meant to test our relationship. You passed. Now we get to go to Disney World.
So,
Happy anniversary.
the fucking heifer had sex with Jake on purpose.
Obviously.
5 whole times.
First off, who counted?
Lily counted. She's a math teacher.
So she counted and he spelled, or they both counted? Isn't one of them an English teacher?
Yeah, but not Jake. Jake
Oh.
is a surgeon.
My bad.
So they snuck around and they planned it and they had a whole affair.
That is fucking disgusting.
Jake says, "How could you?"
How could you?
She
Like
says-
this. I'm laying it out for you right now. This is how I could.
She said, "Well,"
Chugga, 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 the little engine that could.
she says, "Well, Nina has been going to help her mother so much."
Oh, yeah.
So-
Boo fucking who? People who help their parents deserve to get fucked around on.
So Lily would sneak and go fuck Jake.
Right. Ew. Trash.
He says, "No, I meant, how could you do this to your friend and to me?"
He's
you
like,
cunt?"
no, literally do the math for me, you stupid bitch.
She says, "Oh, I went, it's really pretty much like I told you. I went to the preserve to break it off, but everything else is just like I told you." And Jake says,
So not like I told you at all. The end.
she says, "He called me a whore and got aggressive." So he
called
told
me a
the
whore.
truth.
We both been fucking. How am I a whore?
Christian, to his credit, says, "That's not at all what you said happened, actually." That's not even
Same,
close.
bro. Same. Me feel same, too.
Lily says boo-hoo, and all of a sudden her stomach hurts, so they can't go on in this conflict.
Oh my god, she's such a piece of shit.
So Christian is like, "Is that baby even fucking mine?"
No. Obviously not.
Ryan is ew.
It's Ryan's. I told you I was rooting for him.
Ryan is gross, and Nina blocks him. So she hadn't blocked him before, but she finally does now because he won't shut the fuck up.
I think Ryan should get everybody.
Nina is having to plan a funeral.
Is she?
She's at her mom's, back and forth to her mom's house and her house. While she's at her mom's house, she's looking through some stuff in the mail because she's having to do all of the funeral stuff, and she finds a traffic violation. The traffic violation is her mom's. Her mom is not supposed to know how to be able to drive. She got macular degeneration. They went to the doctor and she did a vision test. The doctor was like, she's blind. So they took her license. So why does her mom have a traffic ticket from the day Jake went missing? From right by the hospital where Jake was supposed to be working. So she says, "Mom, you're not supposed to be driving." And Mom says, "Well, I needed some pasta sauce. What was I supposed to do?" And she says, "Mom, you've literally been making me drive you everywhere for 6 months to the point where my husband was like angry at me for not being able to spend time with him." And she says, "Well, I didn't like your husband anyway, so it's fine." He says,
Break up with your boyfriend because I'm bored.
She says, no, what really happened? Turns out, Mom took the gun. She's been following, she's not really that blind.
Obviously.
She faked her vision test. She followed Jake around and found out that he was sleeping with Lily.
Why
She's
would
been
she-
faking a lot of her medical stuff. Like, she does have cancer and she does have the problems, but she's been making it worse than it is so that Nina will have to come hang out with her. Because it's supposed to be her and Nina against the world.
Okay.
And they're supposed to
In their wedding vows, did they say that?
they're supposed to spoon.
You and me against the world forever.
Mhm. So she says, "Don't worry about it. He was cheating on you anyway." So I followed them. I saw them. And as soon as Lily,
Capped his ass after she beat him with a rock.
after Lily beat him with a rock, she said, "Get up, bitch." Walked him into the woods and shot him in the head.
So they both killed him. Low key.
More than the mom.
The question
And
is, would
well-
he have survived the beating with the rock?
Well, that was the whole
Who
thing.
knows?
Is that Lily is really small. And so they were like, how could she have taken down
I have
Jake?
one of these, their brain injuries. Would he have survived that? We don't know.
He survived it long enough to walk in the woods and get shot. Ryan transfers schools because he's embarrassed at his behavior, as he should be. Nina is
Low key, though.
has a sad
he
life.
is not the most embarrassing character in this, though.
Mom gets like 6 months in prison because she's dying of cancer anyway. Nina is alone now.
She was alone before.
But she's a good teacher. Christian gets the baby DNA tested. It is his.
No fucking way.
In the epilogue, they're doing a Bella, Edward, Jake style custody handoff of the baby because Christian left Lily's ass because she was a cheating, murderous cunt.
Whore. Jake was not wrong about that.
And so they do the handoff at this park. And she's like, hey, would you like want to grab dinner sometime? And he's like, maybe next time. And he
She's
just
like,
leaves.
give me one margarita.
He says like, okay, yeah, no, maybe next time. And she's like, okay, I still love you.
Oh my God.
And he leaves and he thinks to himself, maybe one day I will get dinner and get back with her. The end.
First off, he don't need to think. He don't need to think that. We already know he weak. He think that puss is golden.
It just falls open for him.
Right. Got one margarita. That's what Jake thinking. Or what's his name? Christian thinking. Give me one margarita. I'm gonna open my legs.
And when Jake was like upset, well, me for obvious reasons,
because he's dead.
But he was like, she didn't even say like, oh, it was one time. He was like, you snuck around, and she literally, he had sacrificed a bunch. He bought her this big house on the river that he couldn't afford.
The river.
He drives a Honda, even though he doesn't like Hondas, because he wanted her to have this big house that she wanted.
Because he doesn't like Honda. Jesus.
He's been obsessed with her forever. And like Jake's reason for having an affair was like, oh, I'm a mega ass and my wife doesn't have time for me because of her sick mom and manipulative mom. And Lily's reason for it was that she's a cunt.
Here's the thing though, because like she's obviously still gonna be a cunt. And like I feel like she was only like doing that in retrospect, like, oh, well, the person who's obsessed with me doesn't like me anymore, so I like want that back. But as soon as he like they get back together, she's gonna be like, okay, now who else is interested in me?
Absolutely.
That
I'm
is
surprised
gross.
she didn't like go for Ryan.
Right, but she wants both.
She wants everything Nina has.
No, she doesn't want what Nina has. She doesn't give a fuck about Nina.
And people make comments about how like Lily's prettier than Nina, but Nina's clearly pretty because like Ryan was obsessed with her, and like other people think she's attractive. So Lily is just in this fucking vacuum thinking, I'm just this cute, petite little person, and I get everyone's husband.
Gross.
Let's do this. 5 years from now, where are they now? Jake is still dead.
Oh.
Jake is dead. Mama's dead.
Jake is dead. Mom lived 2 years longer after she got out of her 6-month prison sentence, and that was disappointing for everyone involved because they thought she was going to die, and that's why she got such a short prison sentence. So that was disappointing. She worked at Walgreens.
The one down the street from my house, probably.
Yeah.
Was she that lady? One time we went to Walgreens,
barefoot lady,
and we made our purchases and we left. And I said to my co-host on the way out, did you notice that lady was barefoot?
And I had not, or I would have left.
No.
And cried in the car.
Our cashier was talons out.
The worst fucking thing ever.
Turns out it was Nina's mom.
Yeah. So then Nina went forth. She moved to like a slightly bigger city. So it would be like Atlanta or Charlotte, like just a slightly tiniest bit bigger city, and married like a lawyer. And then she didn't tell him that her husband was murdered for the first like year. Mm-hmm. She was like testing those waters. And then he was like, oh my God. Okay. And then they never spoke about it again. And then like they're just like, they go on like nice holidays and they never talk about their hometown. They never visit it. And she just goes to his family functions. And then Woman of Terror, what's her fucking face?
She's on her like third husband.
She got back with what's his name? She gets back with him like every 2 years or so. And without fail, when she turns back up and she's single, he takes her back and they ferry their kid back and forth through that. It's terrible. And she is a girl boss who is always trying to get people in on like hair and what's those other fucking ones? What's that hair
Juice
one?
Plus.
Juice Plus. And Monet. And she had like 2 more kids with random strangers.
Where's Ryan?
Oh, Ryan married an 18-year-old that used to go to the school he taught at. For sure. And they moved away. They had to move from that town. After she graduated, they got together. They didn't do anything until she was 18. Don't say that. He's not a pervert. And then they moved to another town. They got married. Everyone's like, oh, she's super young. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And now he's the principal of a school and she is a young teacher.
I was going to say he
wink,
became
wink.
a youth pastor.
That's the equivalent of that for people who aren't religious.
See, I was going to say that he married someone who looked exactly like Nina.
No, because it wasn't her looks. He didn't give a shit about that. It wasn't attached to like her looks or her at all. It was just like she was what was in front of him at the time, and he was obsessed with that. So it would have just moved on to the next. No, he's like a cat with a toy that's like whatever thing is in front of him at the time, and so he just like became obsessed with the next thing because it's not them that they're attached to. They just get like obsessed with the idea of like the life. So he was obsessed with her life, and he just like wanted to be insinuated into it. I want to be married. I want to like have a house or instant family or whatever.
This has been Read It and Screech.
And that book was horrible.